Welcome to two-point perspective. Today we're going to learn a little bit about two-point perspective and how to do boxes. The first thing you want to put on is a horizon line. Then, instead of titling it 1 point, you're going to title it 2-point perspective boxes. Then, because you have 2 points in two-point perspective, you're going to put 1 dot at the very edge of your paper, not indented. It should be almost touching the edge. And on the other side, you're going to put another vanishing point for 2 vanishing points for two-point perspective. We're going to start out with a few very simple boxes. You're going to need your ruler, an eraser, your sharp pencil, all right? And the difference between 1-point and two-point perspective is how you view them. A 1-point perspective piece has the front of the image always showing towards you, where a 2-point perspective box or shape always has the corner touching you. And you always must build a box and then change it up. So we're going to start down here in the left-hand corner, and we're going to start with a nice vertical line. Step 1 on a 2-point perspective box is to make the corner of your box. Then we're going up and the bottom of this box on the right side back to our vanishing point. Here you can see I've done it on the top. Now I am going to the bottom of my vertical line, and I'm going to connect it back to my right vanishing point. I'm going to do the same on the left side. Connect it back to my vanishing point on the top and the bottom. That's step 2 for making a 2-point perspective box. Step 1 was making the corner of your box. Step 2 is putting your lines back to both sides on your vanishing point. Step 3 is to make the ends of your sides of your boxes. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to drag it back, and I'm going to make a tall skinny box on this one. So here I'm going to put another vertical line that's running parallel. You don't want it to get skinnier. Make sure you got a nice parallel line there. And do it on the other side too. Oops. There we go. All right. Now, you should have 3 vertical lines now, one in the center and one side of the center line. All right? If you look carefully, this is the right side of the box and this is the left side of the box, but we're missing the top up here. That is step 4. It's called the X move. I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with the top of the vanishing point, top right vanishing point, and my top left part of my box, and I'm going to cross over and go to the opposite vanishing point. See, I've gone from the left side here to the right vanishing point. Now I'm going to go from the right side to my left vanishing point. And you can see I've gone from my left to my right and my right to the left, and it makes an X. Can you see the X? X marks the spot, treasure hunting, all that. Now we're going to clean up our paper and have our box just sitting so nicely there. I'll take all these extra lines. Let's see how I'm starting to do that. Leaving the X part up at the top to form the top of my box. All right, I'm going to do the other side. Don't forget to fan your fingers so that you do not wrinkle your paper. All right, we're going to put a few more boxes on our paper. The next one is going to be over here. It's going to be like a shoe box shaped box. So if you'd come a little bit off center and down a little bit farther with your vertical line, you get a nice spot for it. All right, and now at step 1, make the corner of your box. Step 2, you're going to go back to your vanishing point, And I know that box isn't going to go back that far, all the way to the vanishing point, so I'm not going to draw my line back all the way. I'm just going to make sure I have my line lined up with the bottom and lined up with the point, and then I'll go back so it's a little ways farther than I need it to be for that box. It's going to be shoe box shaped, so this is going to be even a little shorter on this side, so I'll just go back a little ways here. Making sure I line it up with the bottom corner over here and my vanishing point over here each time. If you don't, your box will get warped and it'll look bad. Alright, now I'm going to pull my ruler back, keeping it vertical. Alright, now I want to change the angle and pick a spot in the back here. Gonna do the same thing here. Pull my ruler back in the front and make it skinnier on this side. So I have it skinnier on the left, wider on the right. And now I need step 4, the X move, right? We've got step 1, the corner. Step 2, going back to the vanishing points on both sides. Step 3, adding the ends of our sides, so that where the box, how long the box is going to be on both sides. And now we need the X move. You don't have to draw it back all the way to your vanishing point, but you need to draw it back far enough so that you know it's going to form the X, right? So here we go. I did one, and now I can do this one right up to the edge and save on some erasing. There we go. Let's clean it up. Let's make this shoebox look like we can see in it. To see in it, all we have to do is take our ruler and form it in a vertical fashion at this back inside corner, the back top of our box. It's going to make it look like it goes down if we add a vertical line right there on the inside on the top of our box. And now we can see into the box. Alright, let's add a large box that goes all the way from the bottom of your drawing plane up into the top of your drawing plane across your horizon line. So when I go to add this corner to my box, I'm going to make it a little bit closer to my shoebox than I have it, and I'm going to make it go all the way from down here in this area, right, all the way up across my horizon line into the sky. And this box will be a little bit different, right? To make yours long enough, I'm going to make mine just a teensy bit longer so it won't get in the way of the top. To make yours, make sure yours is long enough so that this box will be in the way, right? It'll be in front of it. So I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with the vanishing point, line up with the corner of my line, and I will just pull my line up till I get to my other box. I'll lift it up, and on the other end where it would come out from behind it, I'll make my box continue on back there. So I added 2 lines, right? I stopped when I got to the box we'd already made, picked it up on the other side, and did it so it'll overlap. Let's see. And it's going to do that for me on this one too, because I have this guy. This box is in the way. And so I'll just pick up on the other side right where it comes out. Now I'll do the top. So this is a little bit different because it goes below your viewpoint and above your viewpoint. So when a box is above the horizon line and below the horizon line, it's different in that you can't see a top or a bottom. Here on these, they're below the horizon line, and so you can see the top of the box. If we draw a box up here, which we will in a minute, you will see the bottom of a box because it's above the horizon line. Now we're going to put a vertical line here to end our box. Please put one on to end your box back here so it has an end. All right? Do the same with this one. Do a nice vertical line over here. And we've got one more to do. I'm going to pop it on very quickly. Step 1, draw your vertical line. Step 2, draw your lines back to the vanishing point. When things get really close to the vanishing points, because remember here and here and here and here are hard to make boxes for a beginner, they get a little bit more angled when they're over towards the vanishing point. So don't be shocked if you get really sharp angles because you're close to it. That's okay. Okay. Put on my sides. And put on my X move. There we go. Of course, clean up. Let's see if you can add another box right here on your own. Something like this, over here by yourself. We're now going to try overlapping and learning how to add windows and doors. To start, take a look at your paper. It should look something like this. You should have added your own box over here, and we're going to add another building that goes up over in this area. If you've got this like over in here, you can move it a little bit closer this way, right? I'm going to put my vertical line for the edge of my box so it runs in to the top of this box, right? And clears this, right? So if you have to get it up pretty high, that's fine, right? Then I'll take my line back to my vanishing point for a ways. And I'll take it on the left side too. Now it's going behind the other box, so we don't need it to go on the bottom back to the vanishing point. We just have to add our ends. And I'll clean it up. And we've added a box. Maybe you can see how this could be a building. That's what we're going to do with it now. I am going to first add a window to this building here. To do that, I'm going to make a rectangle inside this. I think I'll make it 2 stories, right? So here we go. I'm going to start off and I'm going to make a line that is going down from my vanishing point. If I'm on the right side of the box, then I use my right vanishing point. If I'm on the left side of my box, then I'd use my left vanishing point. Ooh, I think I forgot to do a little spot on the other end of this box, just in case. All right, now I'm making, yep, I don't think I'll need it. Enormous storefront window, so I'll take this guy and I will put a horizontal here. I think I'll have it end somewhere along in here. So I'll just take my ruler and put a nice vertical going on right there for both ends, and I'll clean up any extra lines I have. Now I've made a window on the side. I'm now going to make a couple quick windows up here. Let's suppose you have a bunch of windows. You want to do a whole bunch upstairs here. Instead of having just one, you want several. You have to remember that things get smaller as they go back into the distance. So I'm going to put my ruler so it's vertical. You could measure this all out and be anal if you want to, but I'm really not that person. But as I move forward, make sure my ruler is straight up and down, I'm going to increase 2 things. I'm going to increase the size of my spacing in between my windows, and I'm going to increase the width of my windows. So they look like they're growing, which they are. They're getting bigger as they come forward. At least that's the goal. All right. Let's see, do I have room for another one? I think I might have gotten 1 or 2 of those a little crooked. Make sure you get them nice and straight up and down. I think I'm sitting a little strange. All right. Now, if you erase these guys in between, you have nice little individual windows. If you want to make them look even nicer, can trick them out so they have trim. I'll just do these two on the end so you can see it. See, I'm putting another window frame inside the window frame, and it's going to make space for the trim. By doing them all at once, then your trim decreases in width as it goes down into the distance. Right, which is nice, and you can kind of gauge how to do the width for each one that way, because as it grows, you'll know how wide to do it on the sides. So here you've got two windows, and then of course you can always do other fun stuff like dividing them up so they have little areas that open up, or if you want to go more country style, you could divide it up so it has different kinds of window pane dividers, right? And you can see how you can add windows. Next up is a door. Put a door on here, maybe just a teensy bit taller because we want it almost maybe as big as the window area, right? Using a nice vertical line, and then because I'm on the left side of my box, I'm going back to the left vanishing point for the top of my door. And remember, when I was doing all these windows up here, I was using the left vanishing point because I'm on the left side of my box. All right, now, it's nice that you've seen me do this, and hopefully you've put yours on here for practice. And now we're going to test you. I would like you to put on your own door, maybe so you can walk up out here. You can even put a window on it if you want to, right? And I would also like you to put on a couple of windows up over here so you get practice, right? So you're going to add at least two windows up here and a door so you can walk out onto the patio area by yourself, right? And practice on your own. Adding all sorts of little details is good practice. You get a little bit more experience. Here you can see I'm adding one of those little windows that you can peek through so that you can see who's out there. Maybe add a little door handle. Going back, you see how my door handle is going back to the vanishing point, right? And I can put a nice little door handle on there. Maybe a kick plate, you know, that little metal part that protects your feet from messing up the bottom of the door. All right. Now, your next goal is to put two windows up here and a door over here on your own. Welcome. Today we're going to learn how to add and subtract from boxes that already exist, and do a hole in a box and some more windows. Let's get started. You should have a sharp pencil, a ruler, and your paper should look something like this from last time. I'm going to change up this first box that we originally had. I'm going to make it into an L for Livermore. To start, I'm going to change up the front of the box over here. So I'm working on the right side. I'm going to go back to my right vanishing point, and I've extended this line. Then I'm going to decide how high I want that L to be. I'm going to try and make it approximately the same width as the other direction. You could measure it if you wanted to. And you can see this top line also goes back to the vanishing point. Now I'm going to put a vertical line on. I don't know if you've noticed this in two-point perspective, but we only have two kinds of lines. We have lines that go back to the vanishing point, and we have vertical lines. If you find yourself putting on something else, it's wrong. So now we have added this part on. To make it look nice, let's erase here and join it all together so it looks more like an L. Now we're going to do our 4 steps. 1, draw the front of the image. In this case, change the front of the image. 2, draw your lines back everywhere you can without drawing over the front of your image. Only now we're going to go to the opposite vanishing point. So this corner will not work. This top corner, I can go back to my vanishing point, not all the way, but some of the way. And this bottom corner, I cannot go back without going over the front of my image. So I've checked all, well, I guess I could check that one, but that one's kind of obvious. All 4 of my new corners that I've added onto this piece. Now we have to figure out how to get it to be the same width here as it is over here. So that's pretty simple. You come in with your ruler and you measure how long across it is. You can measure up here, you can measure down here. You'll see these vary a little bit. I like to pick the one up over here, kind of looks nice. That's 1/2 inch for me. And I am now going to measure up my line and put a dot on the 1/2 inch mark, which I had decided would be a good amount. Now I'm going to go from my right vanishing point over here and to my dot, and I'm going to just extend that line in there so I can see the top of my L. All right, now I'm going to ask you to add something to over here. You're going to add something on your own over here. You can pause the video if you'd like. All right, hopefully you've added something over here on the end here or up this way like I've done. I've added a little block. All right. Next up, we're going to learn a little bit about subtraction. We're going to take some out of a couple places. I'm going to again work on this L and change it up into an odd shape. I'm going to take a chunk out of it over here. Maybe I'll take 2 just for the fun of it. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is change up the side of my L. Now on this one, I am using the left side of my box, so I'm going to use my left vanishing point. Whichever side of the box you're starting on to change up the side, that's the vanishing point you want to be going back to. So here, I'm going to take out a little chunk on the top there that's like a little square, and now I'm going to set it up, take a little chunk out on the bottom here that's a little bit bigger. And in order for that to disappear, I'm going to need to erase these lines here. Now before you do, you want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4 of these lines are all going back to the left vanishing point because they're on the left. Whatever side of the box you're working on, to change the side up, that's what you use, all right? All right, I've got that done. Now I want to make it so that I can see the top areas of these. So you see how you can see the top of the box here and the top of the box here. We should be able to see a top here and here. So to do that, we're going to measure back on the opposite sides and check all our corners that we can without going over the front of the image. Can't do it on that one. I can do it on this one. Can't do it on that one. Can't do it on that one. That's a no. This is a yes. So I've got 2 here. Looks like the other 2 I'd have not work. So I've got 2 that will work. All right. Now you want to make sure that you don't need any more lines going back this way. So in order to do that, you need to measure. So in this direction, mine is 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to measure up this line and make sure I can't put a dot on it. It would be all the way up here, right? It would be way up here on the line. So I'm not going to need another line going back that way because the box is actually going along like this and ending like that, right? but it's behind it, so we can't see it, so we don't have to do it. All right, let's do another one where we subtract stuff. All right, let's do it over on the right side of this box here now. We're going to subtract. Then it'll be your turn. I'm going to put a little patio up here. So I'm working on the right side of my box. I'm using my right vanishing point. Get a nice vertical going. And remember, you can only have lines going back to the vanishing points or vertical in 2-point perspective. All right, so now I've got my hole, changed up the side of the box. Now I'm going to check my corners. No, 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 yes, this one will go. All right, so I'll go have almost like you could walk out there, but let's make it look a little bit nicer. Let's put a handrail on there. I'll just come up here, put a little edge for where my handrail is going to be, go from my vanishing point here, and I can make a nice handrail. All right. And if I go from that very point over to the other side, I can do it so it looks like it winds around the edge of the building. And if I want to make it even nicer, I can put on some little, I don't know, those little poles that they put every couple feet for support. So that's just a nice vertical line straight up and down every so often. And put one in the other side here. So it looks like there's a little handrail running around. All right, now it's your turn. You have this box up here. I want you to add something. So you're going to maybe put a section out here, or put a section back there, or put a section sticking up. And then I want you to take out a section. You could come and take out a section over in there, right? So you need to add and subtract one section over. Welcome back. Hopefully you have added some spot over here and subtracted some spot from this box. It might be different than mine, but you should have one of each on there done yourself. All right, next up, we are going to learn how to put a hole, or several holes actually, on the side of this. To do that, we're going to start by putting some windows on the sides of our box. We're going to make a pretty cool box. This is one of my favorites. Let's start by putting windows on the sides of our box. So I'm just going to use them on the right side of my box. So I'm using my right vanishing point for the top and the bottom of the window part. When I switch to another side here in a second, I will be on the left side of my box, so I'm going to use the left vanishing point to put it on. I want this to look like it has approximately the same border, so I'm putting a dot. You see, I run it back from the vanishing point up this line, put a dot on it. And then when I go back in the other direction, I can line my ruler up it and get a border or another window that is very similar in height and stuff. All right, looking right along here, getting a nice window on this one. And remember, the top and the bottom of this window is going to go from the vanishing point on the left side, because it's on the left side of the box. And now I'm going to put a window on the bottom of the box. And that one will mean I will put only use lines going back from the vanishing points on the bottom, because that's what they do. They go back on the bottom on the left and the right, because it's the X move. They cross over each other. Here you can see I'm almost done. There we go. I've added 3 windows to this box. Now we're going to make it so we can look like we can see into it. Next up, I'm going to go from the very top corner here all the way back over here to my left vanishing point, and where it crosses on the inside of my box, I will draw. So I don't think it'll have to go all the way, but I went from the very top back corner up here back to my vanishing point. Now I'm going to do the same here. I'm doing the X move on the inside of the box to make the top of it. So I'm going to go from here to here now. Some people have it connect. Oop, mine doesn't. Bummer. So I'm going to do that so you can see it, because it's going to need to know it. So very lightly I'm going to put in the line where they would connect, because I need to know for the bottom of the box to make it look good. All right, so I'll erase that later, but you can see how eventually the two of them would come together. All right, I'll place my ruler on the very back bottom corner and on where they intersect, and then I'll do a vertical. Now in reality it goes all the way up and hits here. I'm going to erase that now because I don't need those lines anymore. And what we have, I'm going to erase this line because I don't need this line anymore. Now we can see inside the box. We can see the top inside and the two back walls. If you wanted to get fancy, you could add more windows in here so you could see all the way through the box and the top if you wanted to. All right. So here we go. We've got a box with 3 windows and you can see up inside of it. I would like you to put on a window somewhere, either maybe up here or here, right? Someplace along in there, and add it so that you can see into it some, right? So you're going to go to the alternate vanishing point inside. Give it a try. You should have put a hole somewhere up in here so that you could see into the building. Here I've put it up at the top here on this little tower. And I've gone from my inside upper corner back to the left. Hopefully you have someplace nice on yours. Next up, we're going to do a letter down in this area, right? In order to do a letter, you need to start out with a cereal-shaped kind of box. So you don't want to get too close to your X or above your vanishing point, so I'm going to put my letter corner, the corner for my box, I'm going to put it down here, off to the side a little bit. Then I'm going to go back, because remember we're starting a box, go back on both sides, that's step 2. And because we're close to our horizon, our vanishing point, we have a sharp incline there. I'm just going to make it overlap a little bit on the other one. It's not a big deal. Go over the top of the other one a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to put on my vertical sides, making sure my ruler is straight up and down and not at an angle. Almost there. There we go. And then I'm going to put this one a little farther back, making sure my ruler is straight up and down and not at an angle. I'm going to clean up this edge a little bit here. That one there. I have one more step to do. All right. I have to do the X move across the top. So I'm going to line up my ruler with the right vanishing point and the left top of my box. And I'll go back some. And now I'll do the same for the other side. I'll line up the right corner of my box on the top there and my left vanishing point, and I'll finish off the backs. Now that I've got a shape like this, I can change this into any kind of letter I want. Of course, I guess probably an S probably wouldn't be as easy because it helps if it's a tall box. You know, like the cereal shaped box is standing up. This one's kind of laying down. Might be really good for something like an M or an H or, fat letters. All right. Okay, so I think we'll do an H. All right, so I'm going to change up the side of this box now so it looks like an H. So to do that, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to start with some verticals. I need a section here, a section there. Oh, this is going to have a big wide center to it, which is good. Make sure yours does that too. See, I have a lot of space in between. Then from my vanishing point, I'm going to take my ruler and I'll go back. Doesn't quite connect, so I don't like that. I think it's a little crooked. I think I'll straighten this out some. Okay. Put this down here. And I need another one down here at the bottom. It's going to seem kind of extreme. Remember, we're tricking the eye, so sometimes you have to follow the rules. So you see how I've got a nice H here on the side. Right? Now we're taking out these chunks, the chunk at the bottom and the chunk at the top. So I'm going to erase the line in between here. I'm going to erase the line down here at the bottom, so it looks a little bit more like an H. It's a big fat H. All right, now we have to do step 2. Step 1 was change the front of the image. Step 2 is draw your lines back to the opposite vanishing point. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back over here, and the top over here I can totally go back on. And look, that makes the top part of my H there. I think we could do it right here too. Probably should be able to see that really easily. That's helpful, right? Now we got the top there, but it still looks weird, right? Because we can see an end here, we should be able to see an end over there. So we're going to check this corner and this one, right? And see if we can go back some. I can go back on this corner. I'll go back a little ways. Can I go back on this one? No. All right. So now I'm going to rotate my ruler, and where this intersection is here, I'm going to make a vertical so it matches the edge here and gets the edge of our piece. So I'll get my ruler straight up and down. I'll go from that corner section, and I'll make a nice vertical line like that. And then we have the top and the side of our H in this section. But we need the center part, and it needs to be the right width. So in order to get that, so we get this part so it's not just going on in Never Never Land, I'm going to use this bottom corner here. I'm going to go back to my vanishing point. So here I go. I'm going to line up my ruler, put it on my vanishing point, put it on that corner, and draw it back so that I have a base, an inside to mine. Now, some of you might have less room in there and not be able to do as much in there. It might do odd things, like this line might hit the top corner of your piece, or might be a little bit lower. That's okay. Or the spacing in between here might be less, right? Every once in a while I'll get somebody who'll have them really close together and they won't be able to put this part on at all. They just have this top part coming down on it too. Right? All right, so the last part I got to do the bottom, so I got to check 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. Bottom, no. That won't go back to the left, no. That won't go, but this bottom one here will go back to the left. So I'm going to go back there. Now normally I might have to measure, right? Figure out how wide it is up here and go, okay, it's 3/8, and then come down here and see if I can put a dot on the 3/8 to know if I need another line this way. But in this case, it's only 1/8 wide, so I don't need it there. But some of you might, so you got to measure up here, measure down there to make sure you can't put a dot on. And if you can put a dot on, then you need another one going like this from where the dot is. All right, this is a nice H. Your next option is you need to put on another letter. You see this nice space we have here in the center here? This is where I want you to put another letter. You want to try an easy one? You could try an O or a C. See, I almost have it there anyway, right? Or a U, right? But remember, the first thing you have to do is build a cereal-shaped box, right? You need skinny on one side, fatter on the other. Start with a box, change it up. Welcome back. Hopefully you've got some fun right around in this area. Next up, you need to add 2 more boxes of your choice. They can be just plain boxes or they can be something odd. Here, and that might be kind of hard. Maybe up in here somewhere, all right? So do one here or up in here somewhere. It could be small, don't have much room. All right, now, after you finish that, you need to take a picture of it, turn it in.